Racism is an issue that stems out through all shapes and forms, from apparent jokes that shouldn't be taken lightly to more highlighted issues such as systematic racism. Racism and the fight for civil rights has been something that has evolved over time. Although you may be familiar with forms of racism in today's present, it is important to familiarize ourselves with the growth and involvement of civil rights movements in the course of the past couple of decades. Even after the Civil War and the abolishment of slavery with the 13th through 15th Amendment, African American citizens are still facing social changes. The amendments gave them citizenship and the right to vote, but others still did not give them the respect for being equal. The 1960s was when change started to kick off. During this time, leading up to this decade, African Americans were facing a whole lot of injustices. Laws such as Jim Crow laws kept African Americans and white Americans segregated from one another. This applied to everything in everyday life, from where you could go to school to where you can eat dinner or stores you could shop in. These laws made it so African Americans were pushed into more lower class ways of life by cutting them off from certain areas. To resist these injustice laws, groups came up with ways of peaceful protest. A very notable one was the Greensboro sit-in. The Greensboro sit-in consists of a group of college students who wanted to peacefully protest their rights. The group decided to go and sit at a whites-only lunch counter. When they were refused service, like they knew they would have been, they quietly continued to sit. This event was a watershed moment for a tipping point of the civil rights movement, as it sparked hundreds of others to join in on the sit-ins.
The Greensboro Four would go on to spark future groups such as the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committees, SNCC. Additionally, Ella Baker would organize the Southwide Student Leadership Conference on Nonviolence Resistance to Segregation to help students worried over the uncertainty of the future of civil rights better coordinate and plan action. With the SNCC, however, tensions would develop in the civil rights movement, such as Reverend James Lawson pressing students to accept a religious commitment to nonviolence. Other struggles faced include the organizations often being short on money and staff in carrying out its ambitions, with office space being arranged at the SCLC's Atlanta headquarters and additional funds provided by the National Student Organization.
But the lasting impact of the SNCC would eventually take its place. Several actions conducted by several organizations, including the SNCC, CORE, and the SCLC, by 1963, would force the Kennedy administration to make civil rights a higher priority. These organizations would also play a significant role in leading up to the March on Washington on August 28, 1963, with 250,000 marchers to advocate for civil rights. The civil rights movement shows that we can take small steps as individuals to make change and grow towards a more tolerant society. We can make less assumptions about the people around us instead, ask questions in an effort to learn more about who they actually are, instead of assuming or making comments based on their demographic. We can also hold people less against certain standards and norms surrounding things like gender, race, or sexuality.